Hello, and welcome to Lesson 5 of P.3, the Collisions and Momentum Unit. I'm Meijin Chia, a high school teacher using OpenSciEd and an OpenSciEd facilitator. In this video, I will give an overview of Lesson 5 and wrap up with some tips and tricks. Now, Lesson 5 ties in kinematics and dynamics in order to make sense of the variables that play a role in avoiding a vehicle collision. The electronic exit ticket at the end of this lesson assesses the science practices and ideas developed over lessons 2 through 5. Let's briefly recap how we got to lesson 5. Through the braking investigation in lesson 4, we constructed the mathematical relationship between braking time and mass, initial speed, and braking force. We are now wondering how braking time and reaction time are affected by real-world traffic situations. Here's a look at this lesson at a high level. Lesson 5 takes one 45-minute day. There is one physical handout for students in this lesson. If you plan to use the electronic exit ticket, be sure to make a copy of the Google form and share that copy with your students. There are 2 lesson chunks in this one-day lesson. Let's see what's happening in each lesson chunk. Lesson 5 continues work with the mathematical relationship developed in Lesson 4. We define acceleration and establish Newton's second law. We figure out that the acceleration of an object depends on the net force acting on it and its mass. After analyzing graphs, we realize that in wet conditions, braking force is reduced, which is why it takes longer for a car to come to a stop. As we add to our engineering progress tracker, we realize that design solutions for wet road conditions will have to account for the reduced braking force and increased reaction time. So in this lesson, students figure out that the slope of a speed versus time graph represents the acceleration of an object, which tells us how quickly the object is changing its motion. The cause of an object's acceleration is the net force acting on the object. If the net force acts in the direction of the object's motion, then the object would speed up. If the net force acts opposite to the direction of the object's motion, then the object slows down. In wet road conditions, a lower braking force leads to a higher braking time, while reduced visibility increases reaction time. This is why it takes longer for a car to come to a stop in wet road conditions. Let's take a look at the key moments in Lesson 5. At the beginning of Lesson 5, we look back at velocity versus time graphs and recognize that the slope of the graph helps us understand how quickly the car changes its velocity. This rate of change in motion is defined as acceleration. To avoid a collision, a driver may apply a higher braking force in order to slow the car down more quickly. A reminder here from Lesson 4. We define braking force as the friction force between the car and the ground. We do not try to understand the mechanics of how car brakes work. So we go back to the mathematical model we developed in Lesson 4 to represent the relationship between mass, initial speed, braking force, and braking time. We used the definition of acceleration and rearranged the equation and realized that we derived Newton's second law. We add to the matter-energy force poster that unbalanced forces or net force acting on an object causes a change in the motion of the object. I should note here that the teacher edition continues to use speed instead of velocities in this lesson and introduced velocity as a vector quantity in Lesson 6. However, since force and acceleration are vector quantities, I use the vector form of the mathematical models. Now, in part 3 of this lesson, students read about a study that compared stopping times of drivers in dry versus wet road conditions. Out of 3 options, students select the speed versus time graphs that best represent the findings of the study, which is increased reaction time and reduced braking force in wet road conditions compared to dry road conditions. Now, in part 4, during the scientist circle, I asked my students to annotate the features on the speed versus time graph that they select that provides information about reaction time and braking force. To give them practice in quantitatively using F equals to ma, I also asked students to calculate the magnitude of the net friction force acting on the car in dry versus wet road conditions, and I give them a mass of 1,500 kilograms for the car. Students then come up with a potential solution to help drivers reduce the likelihood of running a red light in wet road conditions. Now, this is the second time in the unit that students update their engineering progress tracker. I encourage my students to reflect on the science ideas and thoughtfully come up with a design solution, as this learning activity is practice for the summative and transfer tasks coming up in lessons 12 through 15. Now that we know what variables play a role in collision avoidance, we wonder what affects the severity of the outcome of a collision when it does occur. Okay, let me share a couple of strategies for this lesson. As we put the pieces together, we connect how dynamics and kinematics help us explain the variables that affect collision avoidance. In particular, I like to highlight to my students what variable is usually under a driver's control, like how fast we drive, versus variables that are somewhat under a driver's control. For example, I can try to minimize my reaction time by being focused on the road, but sometimes I cannot control poor visibility conditions. Similarly, in wet conditions, even if I press the brakes harder, the car may still take longer to stop because of the reduced friction with the road. As I mentioned at the start of this video, the exit ticket in this lesson assesses various elements covered through lessons 2 through 5. Many students struggle with the concept of net force causing a change in motion. They assume that an object in motion has a force acting in the direction of motion. So, for example, in the video of the cart coasting along the track, students would often claim that there is a net force in the direction of the cart's motion, even though the speed time graph in the exit ticket indicates the cart is slowing down. So, to provide my students with practice with these elements, I've compiled various interactive simulations and graphical analysis in a Google Form review. In Lesson 5, we co-construct the term acceleration and relate the acceleration of an object to the net force acting on the object through these equations. After we co-construct the term acceleration, we refer back to the matter-energy force triangle to add the big idea that unbalanced forces cause a change in motion. Towards the end of the lesson, we revisit the driving question board and move questions that can now be answered, such as those related to reaction time, stopping time, and other topics from lesson 2 to 5 to a separate part of the board. Well, this is lesson 5 in a nutshell. Even though it is a one-day lesson, it is packed with a lot of sense making as we put the pieces together about how to avoid vehicular collisions. Join us again in Lesson 6, where students consider the factors that affect traffic safety when a collision does occur. Thank you.